This show is brought to you by Victor Naraki Realtor, experienced real estate agent serving Disney and the greater Orlando area of celebratingflorida.com. Have you ever dreamed of living where the magic happens? Victor Naraki has made that dream come true for himself and others. One of the biggest decisions you'll make when considering a move is selecting a realtor who can successfully match you with the right home in the right location at the right price. If you're looking to buy or sell in the Orlando area, here's why Victor is the realtor you'll want in your corner. Victor knows the Disney area like the back of his house. By creating a free, no-obligation account on his website, celebratingflorida.com, you'll unlock the website's full potential and be able to enter specific criteria, save listings, and browse new properties sent to your email. Is it time to follow your dream? Victor is looking forward to helping you discover the real estate opportunities that are right for you in this beautiful and fun-filled part of Florida. Visit celebratingflorida.com today or view Victor's view at victorsvista.com and let Victor know the Solo Show sent you.
I don't think I've done any bouncing yet, but I could do a little just to make sure you knew it with a tigger.
So, what do you think? Should we get the show started?
Oh, of course. Don't be ridiculous.
Broadcasting from the Solo Studios, somewhere in the 100-acre woods near Winnipeg, Manitoba, the birthplace of Winnie the Pooh in the center of North America and on this little planet we call Earth. This is the Solo Show. On this adventure, Stan welcomes Beatrice Denis to the guest host chair as they discuss the experimental prototype community of tomorrow. Or as you better know it, EPCOT. Stick around to learn more. So now, please welcome your host, the premier champion Peek-a-Poo player in the world, but Pooh, what are you doing here?
Hello, Kenny. It's very nice to see you again.
Say, would you like to do the introduction?
Well, I am a very little brain, but perhaps with just a scooch of honey, I could say, here's Stan Solo.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Solo Show. I am Stan Solo, and today I am with a dear friend. We go back, I don't know. You're one of my oldest Disney friends, I think. Back in the old WDW radio box night before Facebook. What was it? I can't remember what it was called.
Was it Ustream or?
Joining me today is the one, the only Beatrice Denis. I got one right. Got the name right. Beatrice Denis from Orlando, Florida. And we're here to talk about the experimental prototype community of the future. Getting up tomorrow. EPCOT. Beatrice, how are you? And welcome to the show.
Oh, I am fantastic, Stan. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor to be on your show, and it's going to be tons and tons of fun talking about my favorite park and heading back right now during the times that are a little bit different. So it's been
This
fun.
has been a long time coming. I've been wanting Beatrice to be on the show forever. I just never ever reached out to her for, I don't know why.
You have always been a dear friend. It's so fun to see you when you're in town. So
yeah, for sure. So, Beatrice, we're continuing our series with the parks opening around the world. We've done Shanghai, Hong Kong, Tokyo, Animal Kingdom, Magic Kingdom. Now we're going to hit Epcot. And Beatrice has been to Epcot a couple of times since the reopening. Yeah. And we're going to find out a little bit about that. But first, let's find out a little bit about Beatrice. Beatrice, where did your love for Disney come from?
So when I was a baby, my father bought me a Winnie the Pooh, and I still have that Pooh Bear, and I still have photos of me carrying him around by his ear. And I will never forget throughout my childhood life, my mother yelling at my dad saying this was all his fault because of that Pooh Bear. My mother told me that she was not a Disney person. She was a reality person. And I think it just struck me over the edge on the Fantasyland side because I just went, against her, against all the odds and went full-fledged into Disney. My first trip to Disney, although, was not until I was an adult. It was 2000, so I got to see the Millennium Year at Epcot, which was fantastic. And I cried when I checked out of the Contemporary Resort because I had never been there before, and I didn't know when I'd ever be able to get back. And that was the day that I bought the Disney Vacation Club, and I've been back ever since.
Wow.
And 10
I
years
thought
ago,
I was
moved
bad on
here.
my first trip.
Yeah, that was my first trip, and I checked out of the Contemporary, and the person who was helping me check out said, "Are you okay?" Because I was crying. and,
Yeah.
and I was like, "No, I've always wanted to come here, and I don't know if I'm going to be back." And so, yeah, that day that changed. So,
So they said, "Hey, I got an idea. Why don't you buy it to DVC?"
yeah, I got a free meal at Big River Grill at the boardwalk when I toured it. I got some ice cream, and I bought into the Disney Big Club. So that was fantastic. So,
I've
yeah,
never ever heard of anybody buying DVC their very first trip. That is insane.
I
Wow.
couldn't imagine not coming back. And honestly, that was the most expensive vacation I had ever taken in my whole life. So,
Oh, for sure.
Staying in the Contemporary for a week, the park tickets, all the things. So if I had, help with all of that, had a great room to come to and all of that, I just somehow it worked out a lot better that way. And I knew I was going to come back. So leaving, I didn't have that horrible feeling, that I don't know if I'm going to ever be back here. So I couldn't handle that. So that
Very
was
similar to my story. Not quite as I didn't go DVC, but flying back. And back then they used to put the cards on the hotel room or the resort room tables saying book your next stay and you get free dining, or there's always some kind of perk if you book your next stay. And I'm looking at this card and I'm thinking, like, I want to come back here. Like, this was supposed to be my one and only ever trip, my first trip, as an adult with my daughter. And we're flying home, and the whole time I'm thinking, I got to go back. Got home, put the suitcases down, picked up the phone, didn't unpack nothing, barely kissed the wife, dialed the number that I got from the little card, and booked the next trip for the following year. Oh. And they gave me the perk because I had was less than 24 hours before checking out. And the same type of thing. I had to go back after my first trip. Yeah. Oh, that's incredible. So you were obviously not from Orlando then. Where were you originally from at that time?
Correct. I grew up in North Carolina, and I did move to Orlando 10 years ago. So next month in August is going to be my 10-year Florida-versary.
Oh, nice. Next month.
Yep. Next month, August.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll get to go in the parks and celebrate.
I will say your accent was much more Northern Carolina when I first met you than it is now. You got that more of the Florida accent now.
Maybe. Well, I think I was confused growing up. My mom was German and my dad was from Brooklyn, New York. He was in the military when they met, and they were older when they had me, and he retired in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. So that's how we ended up staying in North Carolina. So I wasn't the military brat that traveled because my parents were a little older. But growing up with a German and a New Yorker, I was confused with the hey y'all and all that stuff.
You had a real Southern Belle almost accent when I first met you.
It was a little bit of all of it. So I was...
Yeah, because I remember the first thing you said, "Oh, Stan, it's so nice to finally meet you in person." Actually, I believe you said, "Oh, Stanley, it's so nice to finally meet you in person." And I'm like, "You're not originally from Florida, are you?"
No.
So let's talk a little bit about EPCOT and the reopening. So. And COVID-19 and Orlando, not so much Orlando, but Florida is in the heat of things right now. So you have to book a reservation to go to the parks. The parks are very limited. I'm sure anybody listening to the show already knows all that. So Beatrice has to book a reservation to go to the park. Were you nervous at all your first time going back to the park?
I was a little nervous about going anywhere, really. I mean, honestly, grocery stores and all of these other places, I feel so nervous about still now, but I feel safer at Disney than I feel anywhere. Honestly, I really, really do. They take your temperature as you go in. If you have anything, they even tell you what it is. Oh, you're 97.98 point, so it was fun because one day we walked in and they told me that I was cooler than my husband because his temperature, he was normal, but I was a little cooler. So,
but anybody that met the two of you already knew that.
But I mean, they make you feel comfortable and fun. Like, they're really looking at it. You can't go in. Like, there was one time I forgot to pick up a park map, and I just wanted to go back to pick up the park map right there at the entrance, and the park was closing. they would not even allow me to go back to get the park map, but the cast members said, stay here outside of the tent area. You can't go back in that way, but I'm going to go get you a park map and I'll bring it. So honestly, I don't feel safer anywhere else.
I didn't know that they were having park maps. I thought they weren't. So anyone can take one, or are they just handing them?
You can grab a park map, or you can use things digitally. So if you feel comfortable grabbing the paper, you're allowed to, but so in the actual park maps, because I did pick one up, they have the relaxation station. So they've updated them just a bit. And say, for example, since we're talking EPCOT, they've got the future home of Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind on there. They've got future home of Play. They've got, Remy is listed on here. So they mentioned the things to come, as well as the current relaxation stations and things like that. So that was kind of neat. But cool. She wouldn't allow me to go past that tent to get one. She went and got it for me, which was fantastic. But they are truly protecting it.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. The relaxation stations. Wow, that's hard. The relaxation stations you mentioned. Where are they? How many are there in EPCOT, and whereabouts are they? Because I haven't had a chance to really look.
I saw 3 of them on the map, and I've been to some. One is near, between Mission Space and the bathrooms by Test Track, right over in that area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One is in Norway, over where the little quick service restaurant is.
Norway, where you get the school bread, that one?
Yes, it's right around there. They've got a little relaxation station there. And there's one in the United Kingdom Pavilion near Rose and Crown.
Okay.
So,
and for the people that don't know, what is a relaxation station?
A relaxation station is an area that they control where you can take your face coverings off temporarily without having to eat or drink food or eat or drink.
Yeah.
So Disney has said that you can no longer walk with a drink in your hand and just keep your mask off. There were some people in some of the theme parks, not necessarily Disney, some of the other ones as well, that were just using that as an excuse. And so
that
Disney
was my plan. I'd go get one of those all-day suckers, those those $15 lollipops that are the size of your head. Just carry that around all day.
Yep, you can't. I'm happy that you can't do that at Disney anymore, just because so many of those people were trying to get away with not wearing it. And so now, if you do drink something, you go off to the side. You stay stationary, you sit at a table, or maybe you can even stand off to the side, but you can eat or drink on the side without walking among other, and you can take your mask off
to eat off of.
Yeah, but those relaxation stations are places where you can just sit. Like, I sat there and I looked at my phone for a bit and tried to cool my face off because you get all sweaty. And
are they very air conditioned, the relaxation
some of them are. Not all of them. There are some outdoor areas. I think there's some large buildings and things like that might not be being used. That might be, but the one that I sat out for quite a while was an outdoor one, and I just could sit and I, caught up on, all the social media stuff and just rested my face from the heat for a moment. But, it's very necessary right now. So I'm really happy that they're taking it seriously and protecting us all with Safe-O.
Let's talk about some of the extra fun stuff that they have at EPCOT during this time when you wouldn't normally get to see. I saw you were posting pictures of it looked like a cavalcade parade. EPCOT has had a parade for years that I know of.
And it's great. So there are different ones. One of them is Anna and Elsa. So you hear the music, so you can kind of get ready and get to the side. It's not like there are times that they come out. So it's good because you don't have people just standing around waiting in groups. But if you hear the music, there's one with, Anna is in this beautiful carriage with a horse, like horse and buggy kind of thing. Yeah. And Elsa is just walking and she's doing this beautiful, it's great for photographs. So you don't have to wait in a very long line to meet the princesses. You just get a great photo. They'll look right at you and wave. And there's another princess, like a large carriage. It's almost like a trolley sort of thing, and it's got several of them. You'll see
that's like Belle. A horse-drawn carriage, that one, right?
Yes. Yeah, there's Belle and Snow White and Jasmine and just lots of princesses on both sides so that they get both sides of the guests there, and it's beautiful. So that's another horse carriage. And then there's a very fun little car that comes through that's Mickey and Minnie, and it's got Pluto and Goofy kind of in front of them as they're coming through. It's a beautiful, beautiful car. So that's very
that
fun.
Car. It has like the suitcase strapped to the side. Like you're going on vacation somewhere.
Oh, I love it. That was probably my favorite. I love the princesses, but that was really fun.
Yeah.
So,
I got from seeing that car with that suitcase, I got, how originally Epcot wasn't supposed to have Mickey and Minnie at all in the original plan. So to me, it felt like it was like they're on vacation at Epcot from Magic Kingdom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It does feel that way. Yeah, thinking of the car and the way they are, it's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they've got their little travel suit on kind of thing. It looks like with the white. Yeah.
That was the impression I got from seeing the pictures you posted. And then I've seen, I'm not sure if you posted pictures, but I've seen other people posting. There was like Winnie the Pooh in a grassy area, or Alice or something like that.
Winnie the Pooh's in the grassy area trying to catch butterflies. Yes.
Is that in Epcot or in UK, or where would that be?
I believe, I didn't actually see him. I believe it might be the UK pavilion, or from the video, it almost looked like where I saw Joy from Inside Out. Joy was over by Figment, Journey into Your Imagination. So she was in the little grassy area there.
Yeah.
And I did not see Winnie the Pooh, but it almost looked like they were in the same spot where I saw Joy.
Oh, okay.
So
they
and
could
then
have had Winnie the Pooh in Canada also. After all, he is named after Winnipeg, my home city. So.
If they have a good spot in Canada, I wonder where they would put him though, because if he's out chasing butterflies, he's he needs a little space for that. Alice was in where the British Revolution used to play in the gazebo back there. So we saw her. It's wonderful how they have the characters out. Like Alice will talk to you and be in photos with you, and she'll pose behind you. Like we all had mouse ears, so she was trying to do little rabbit ears. They're fun. They're very, very, and I think it's great. You don't have to wait in a long line to meet the characters. You just go, you grab your photo, and
I thought it was genius. When I saw these pictures of the characters walking around, I thought this is pure genius.
Yep.
The Disney did it right for that for sure. I think it was in Shanghai, they had Captain Jack on top of the Pirates building, kind of waving and talking to people as he went walking by. Brilliant. Whoever came up with this idea of having these characters, I love it. I would like to have that all the time. I think rather than standing in the line, like you said, to get an autograph and a picture and, and a silly pose, you can get great pictures for sure. Yeah.
Oh, you really can. And I've stood and done little selfies, and they'll pose right behind you. I mean, it's so fun, but you don't have to wait in line for it. It really is brilliant. I love how they've done that.
Yeah. How many times have you been to Epcot since the reopening now?
Epcot twice.
Twice, okay.
And I'm planning to go again this week, thankfully.
So how much gap between? Like a week between, 2 weeks?
It was a week, yeah.
Did you notice a difference in crowds between the first week and the second week at all?
The crowds have not been very large in any of the parks that I've seen. Hollywood Studios was the, I guess, most crowded of all of them first thing in the morning. And I'm sure that's because of Rise of the Resistance and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. But Epcot has not been anything. I mean, we would just go right on Spaceship Earth, test track. I mean, if you can ever go to Frozen and have like a 35-minute wait at 7 o'clock at night, that their crowds are not that bad.
Yeah.
That's the longest wait that I've had. But of course, at that time of the day when, it should have been 120 minutes or longer. Longer.
Exactly. So. And I think that not having fast passes help a lot too. You're not booking fast passes. How did you do any table service dining?
I did not do table service that day because we were checking out some of the kiosks with the different food. And we were also looking at a lot of the merchandise. From what one of the cast members in merchandising there told me, because they have the Flower and Garden Fest stuff out. And so I asked her, about the flower and garden versus food and wine merchandise. And she said that we're doing all flower and garden right now until it pretty much sells out. Then we'll bring out the food and wine festival merchandise for the second half, because it's an extra large, extra long festival sort of thing, and they're kind of merging the two. So she said the first half's going to be flower and garden, because they only had a week or two to really sell that merchandise. So she said we're doing that first half, and then once that's kind of done and sold, then we'll bring out the food and wine festival.
Okay.
So that was just from one of the cast members that I asked her about it, because I saw the flower and garden, and I knew technically that's supposed to be over, so I was wondering how they were doing that.
Yeah. So the food and wine festival merchandise isn't available yet?
No, you don't see any of that yet. She said once the flower and garden is gone, or pretty much gone, then they'll start bringing that stuff out.
Interesting.
So.
That's okay. I was getting mixed up. For some reason I was thinking that there was both there. But now I think about it, I didn't see anything for flower and garden yet, so that makes sense. Or some food and wine, sorry.
Yeah. So, I know, right? Well, it's all one right now. Flower and food and garden and wine.
Yeah. And then there's that lady that thought it was the Guns and Drugs Festival that tried to get it.
Oh, they've got such great merchandise. It's so adorable right now. So, yeah, I was curious as to how they were going to do that. And that's what she said.
Okay. What about the construction at EPCOT? Is that coming along, or have you heard anything?
So I have not heard, and that was another reason I was looking at the maps here, because they don't have they've got a lot of construction still at the front. The walls are still up, and it's actually kind of cool to get photos of Spaceship Earth with the walls like they are, because you're able to go into some spots that I don't typically go to, especially at night when you're leaving the park or things like that. You can get like fun. I always take photos of Spaceship Earth, so you can get fun different angles. So that was my fun. But it's also, like there's no one in front of you when you're doing the not really topiaries, but they have the signage and things for Flower and Garden Festival, and there's Spaceship Earth behind you. You can sometimes get that with like no other people around, and typically that's like unheard of to get a shot without other people everywhere. So I don't know when the construction's going to be done, but they still do have the front kind of blocked off like that. Yeah.
I found it very. I'm used to traveling a certain route, and when I went the last time, it was like, okay, I have no idea where to go. I was kind of going down.
Yeah, they take you out toward the right or toward the left.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk a little bit about
here's a little smaller right now.
The food and wine. You said that there was 5 of you that went together.
Yes, so we tried some different things.
Yeah, to me it seems it's a little bit. There's less offerings than normal, I think. It felt, which is understandable.
Right. It looks like there are 6 different continents and 20 different kiosks. Our favorites were in the old Millennium Village, if you know where that was. Kind of near Canada, that little building that's off in the back.
The World Show Place, I think it is the building is called. Yes.
That was our favorite spot, because that's a big building that was air conditioned, and they have a piano player that plays in there.
Nice.
Carol Stein from the Rose and Crown sometimes plays in there. She must have been off that day. We had a gentleman playing. But they have playing great, Disney melodies on the piano. It was air conditioned. And in that building were some of our favorite kiosks. So we had mac and cheese. There's a whole kiosk for mac and cheese. So we all had stuff.
And they have
that was amazing.
4 different options, I believe, at that kiosk, right?
At that one, I had a buffalo chicken mac and cheese. And my husband had the lobster mac and cheese. So we both tasted the other, and they were both wonderful. The buffalo chicken was a little spicier, but I liked that, and that's fine. Another kiosk that was in there was the desserts and champagne. So we had our nitro cake pops. I mean, that building was like the place to be.
Yeah.
So it was between that, and there was what else was in there? There was I know Darlene had the pierogies or something in that building too. She was real happy with what she had there too. I think she had like kielbasa or pierogies.
Yes, they did have I remember hearing about the kielbasa.
She did. She had the kielbasa and the pierogi. So I saw that. I didn't try that, but that looked really good. And that was in that building too. So that was between all of that stuff. There was a lemonade hard cider that she got in that building. It was the Apple Orchard. That's another kiosk. So that building has, I bet that building is like some of the festival favorites. So it's a nice.
The Apple Orchard one, they had it during the Festival of the Arts festival in the Canadian Theatre, because the theater was down. And they had, it kind of reminds me of that, because I think they had at least two, probably three different kiosks inside that theater in the Canadian Pavilion. And the apple cider was one of the ones in there.
Oh, very good. Yeah, the Apple Orchard was a apple seed orchard. That was a good one.
And it came in a really cool cup too.
They really do.
Like a copper cup.
In fact, Darlene had a lemonade hard cider from there that was really good. We just really tried a lot of good stuff, but we hung out in that building for quite a while because that was kind of our lunchtime. So we had the different kiosks, and it was also a nice place to cool down and take our masks off. Those were high top tables, so we didn't really sit down. We did end up moving to a table where we could sit because we were like, oh, we're spending a little more time here than we thought.
And that's a huge building, so social distancing wouldn't be a problem at all in a building like that. And I could picture them really being able to space out tables very easily in a building like that size.
And someone had an interesting thought. They were wondering if maybe the kiosks that were in there were possibly what would have been, you know how they usually have them in the front towards like the land pavilions and stuff like that. Since there's so much construction in the front side, maybe they added some of the kiosks to the back there, which is a good thought too. Maybe that's why, and I don't know, but someone was thinking maybe that's why they had some in the building. I think it's great because it's air conditioned. You can kind of get in away from everything, so that was great. Yeah,
because they usually have the fire kitchen one, and they have like a vegetarian one or something like that, kind of right behind Spaceship Earth, which is now all construction. Yeah, that does make sense.
So I don't know if that's what they did or not, but that was a neat thought that someone said, well, since maybe they don't have as many in the front, they've got them in there.
I was thinking because the Canadian Pavilion was such a hit last year when the theater was down, that they went, well, let's use this building this year, this time, or you know what I mean? That was my impression, because that was very popular in the Canadian Pavilion during the Festival of the Arts. Of course, now they're showing the new movie, so they can't use it anymore. So I'm thinking that might have had something to do with it, but you could be right about that. It is a great spot to put pavilions for sure.
It really is. So maybe they'll keep using that. I really liked it. But yeah, that was great. So there are 20 different kiosks, and let's see, Africa, the Appleseed Orchard that we talked about, Brazil, Canada, China, Citrus Blossom, mac and cheese.
Did you try the Citrus Blossom one? Because I'm curious about that one. I read about it.
I wanted to, which is one of the things I want to go back to this week. I wish I could fit more food in on a day, but the Citrus Blossom has a lobster tail that I would love to try. Lobster tail with mayor lemon, and there's also a crispy citrus chicken. So I don't know which I'd rather have. I think I'd probably try the lobster this week, but I want to go by. They also have an orange slushie that I want to try. So that's really, really good. Let's see, the desserts and champagne, the nitro pop, the cake pops.
Yes, tell us about that one.
Anybody who goes needs to try one of those if you can.
So they take what is it? It's like a cake pop or an ice cream pop, and they dip it in nitro to freeze it, or what is it? That's what I'm picturing in my head.
Right, it's liquid nitro. So they put and it comes to you like smoking. It's the coolest thing. Oh my gosh, it's the coolest thing. So they've got one with crumbled Twix.
Is it cake or is it ice cream or what is it?
It's a cake pop. So it's like a chocolate cake. And both of them are like a chocolatey cake. So my husband had the one that had the Twix, and then I had the one that has crushed M&Ms and milk chocolate. So I tasted both of them, and oh my gosh, it was fantastic. Either one, you can't go wrong. But it comes to you just smoking. And so you've got this cake pop with all this chocolatey goodness. Oh my gosh. It
sounds dangerous, but
I know it's absolutely fantastic. We all had cake pops. And we all gave it like 4 thumbs up, even though we have 2 thumbs. It was like,
2 thumbs per couple.
It It was fantastic. So I definitely say that Desserts and Champagne is a spot to go see. Some of the other girls like the Earth Eat one. They had the Impossible Burgers, and they really enjoyed that. That was very good, they said.
So that's like a vegan kiosk, I'm guessing?
Yeah, it's hosted by Impossible. So they have an Impossible Burger, but then it's all like plant-based stuff, which is really good. I still want to try that another day. That day, I ended up with an empanada for dinner. So I was like, oh, there was so many good foods to check out and try. So that's definitely, but yeah, then there's France and Germany and Hawaii and Mexico and Morocco.
Now, the Hawaiian one, do they have the Spam hash?
They do. Year? They've got the Spam there. We were talking about that. They've got the pork slider. So they've got the pork slider and they have the Spam hash. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
I've never tried that one, but I mean, I've made it myself, but I hear so many good things about that one. Did they have the cheddar cheese soup? That's the highlight every year, or used to be the highlight every year. I mean, it's kind of old hat now, but that was the kind of the Canadian thing, was the cheddar cheese soup, which we don't really have here. I don't know who came up with that being Canadian.
Let me see. Yes, they've got in Canada, at the Canada kiosk, they've got the Canadian cheddar cheese and bacon soup. Yep. Okay. It was a toasty day, so we weren't thinking about soup that day. But I can definitely, I know that tastes good to go back later for it.
It's actually, it cools you down oddly enough on a hot day. Oh, does it? That's really, yeah, because I remember when I went, it was crazy hot, and I had to try it because everyone was talking about it, and yeah, it actually didn't make me worse, that was for sure.
Oh, wow. Well, I might have to try that. I always kind of make a list of what I want to make sure I try before the season's over, and then just kind of spread everything out a little bit.
Yeah. Something I haven't seen is, in past festivals, they've always had like a little map where you could find the hidden Remy's or the hidden ratatouilles or whatever they're looking for, the stitches. Did they have that this year? I haven't seen anything about that anywhere. And you know, you can collect the things and you get like a puzzle or whatever afterward.
I think I remember seeing that little sign. I didn't actually do it because it was, trying to press for everything that we wanted to do that day. So I would have to go back and make sure. I think I do remember seeing that they have the little A-frame sign outside the shop that tells you to go in and get it. And I think I remember seeing it.
Yeah. 'Cause those are always fun to do. I don't really pay for it. I just I get the picture online somewhere, and I look for the little characters myself. I don't need a little puzzle or something like that, for $20. But I wouldn't mind. I do enjoy looking for the little hidden characters in every pavilion.
And I think they are doing that. I think the bumblebee is kind of hidden somewhere here and there and stuff like that. So I think that they are doing that. I'll have to check that out more this week when I go back. Sorry about missing that. But yeah, I think they are doing that though.
Okay. One thing I saw that I thought was really super cute was in the, I think it's the German pavilion that has the miniature train station. They added the signs for the festival.
Yes, I took some photos of that. So it looks like the train station is actually performing the same Flower and Garden Festival with their little, in different areas too. So it's not all just in one little main street area. If you go around it, you'll see it there too.
Yeah, and I thought that was really cute. Those little signs in the train station. Was there anything else like that you noticed that was kind of new this year?
Oh, my favorite topiary is the Remy, where Ratatouille is coming soon. Oh my gosh, that is I just can't wait for that ride. So that is a really nice thing to come. Let me see what else might have been. If anyone hasn't done the story time, the sing-along in the France Pavilion, that's a good one too. We definitely had tons of fun singing on that one.
Now, do you keep your mask on when you sing, or do you take it off in there?
You do keep your mask on when you sing.
Hey, good. That's the last thing I need is a person, even though they're a row behind me, singing. Spraying.
They also have them separated, so you don't sit. They don't fill the theater, so you don't sit very close to strangers either. So when you're in there, they've got, and some theaters they have sectioned off to only 4 seats. Some theaters, they actually have plexi separators, like on Soarin' and things like that. They actually have plexi separators. So you sit with your group and there are seats in between. So they are wonderful at separating you from others on the ride as well.
I did hear about somebody else. They said they went on soaring and they sat down and they look at the plexiglass beside them and completely covered in fingerprints.
Oh no. Well, don't touch that, right? They clean it every so often. Maybe it was the person who was on before them, because honestly, they actually shut it down sometimes and they clean it out. We were going to get on the land, the boat ride in Living with the Land, and they told us, it's going to be about 20 minutes if that's okay, if you want to wait for it or come back, because right now we're going through cleaning all of the boats. So every so often they completely sanitize, even though, throughout the day. So
which is awesome, which is great that they're doing that.
It really is. Yeah.
And I like the little sign you posted in the Living with the Land with the welcome back. We miss you. We miss you. Yeah. They always do such fun things in that pavilion.
They always have things to make you, just look at everything. It's funny, the family that was sitting, I had the last bench on a boat, and the family that was in the first bench on the boat behind me, I could hear the father read the sign to his child. He said, "Welcome back, we've missed you." And he said, "We missed you too, Plant." And it just made my heart smile. It was the cutest thing ever. I had to turn around and give him a little thumbs up. I love it when people, recognize what the little extras Disney does.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. One of my favorite things to do is when I get on the front of the boat, I'll hold up my camera and I'll yell out really loud to everybody else in the boat, even when I'm by myself, "Selfie time!" And everybody look up and I take a selfie of myself with all the strangers behind me. I can't do that anymore because you're the only people on the boat now. It's only you and your friends, I'm guessing. Or do they have plexiglass?
I have had complete rides to myself. And sometimes if they don't have people in line, some of the rides, they'll say, "Do you want to ride it again?" And they'll let you just go right through and ride it again, or stay on it and ride it again if there aren't any people coming up right behind you.
That is so great.
And that's a sign of, the parks, right now being a much lower attendance available. So you have those opportunities that we haven't had in a very long time. Maybe September 10 years ago, you could have done something like that. But now it's very tough to actually get to stay on a ride and ride again.
Yeah, no, that is unheard of nowadays.
Yes.
The odd time you could do it on TTC maybe, but other than that, I don't think there's anywhere else, Disney World, where that's the norm. And that's not even the norm, really.
Right. But I do feel safer there than anywhere. So to me, it feels good to go. It feels good to actually feel like life is halfway normal again with just a mask on and able to do some of the things that we love again. So, it's good.
Well, if I was within driving distance, I would be there. Or if I was allowed to leave the country, I would be there, absolutely. But having said that, I do want our listeners to know that we're not saying you have to go or you should go or absolutely go. Do what you feel is best for your family and for yourself, because if you feel uncomfortable about going, or you don't want to bring your family to Florida or anywhere else, don't do it. Do what you feel is safe. Do what's best for you and your family. I really want to make sure we put that out there, because it's great that people in Orlando can do this. What else are you going to do? Sit at home all day? No, you're going to go somewhere for sure. So,
and honestly, I would feel a little nervous about planes right now too. So I'm in a little bit of a different situation than some, and everyone takes things differently. So if you just want to take a look at the pictures for now and come later, that's good too. Yeah,
and I appreciate all the pictures you're posting and all my Disney friends are posting, because it's great seeing these things. Even though I can't experience them, I really enjoy living vicariously through them. So keep it up. Keep up your pictures. It's great. Any final thoughts, Beatrice?
No, this has been tons of fun. So I've actually, because of all of this, I started back on my Instagram. So I'm doing, it's at Be a Diz Fan, BeaDizFan. So I'm Be a Diz Fan on Instagram and Twitter, and Beatrice Denis on Facebook. But I do love my photos. So that's always tons of fun for me, and I just enjoy being there.
And we'll post the link to all those in the show notes on Facebook, on the Solo Show Facebook. So if you want to be friends with Beatrice or follow her on Instagram or Twitter, by all means, she has the greatest photos. And Beatrice doesn't post one photo. She posts 180 photos.
I love pictures.
What was
And
that?
then I
Like
can't
20
tell
of
which
Mickey
one I
and
like
Minnie in
more.
their car.
Oh, they were so great. Oh,
So
thanks for inviting me,
anyway,
Stan. This has been wonderful.
and thank you for coming on. This was great. It's been a long time coming. I've been wanting to have you on the show for a long time. With that, Ken, take it away.
If you have a brilliant idea for a future edition of The Solo Show and would like to take your turn in the guest host's chair, then drop us an email at thesoloshow01@gmail.com. Tell us your idea for the show, and we'll contact you about a date and a time for you to join us. If you would just like to keep the conversation going or have a comment about a previous show, then visit us on Facebook at The Solo Show. All logos, sounds, and songs that are made by and for Disney and its affiliates are owned solely by the Disney Corporation and are not, nor are they intended to be, the ownership of The Solo Show podcast. We hope you'll join us for the next adventure on The Solo Show. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.